Alrighty, yo, what's just going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94, here back with another reaction video. Today, we finna react to the surprising history of Rugrats, the rise and fall of the Rugrats. It should be interesting. This is one of my first favorite shows that I watch. Yeah, this is one of my first favorite shows, especially as I can't sit up here and say I remember when I was 1 year old, but I know when I was a baby, I was glued to this show. I was super attached to this show. This, Blue's Clues, and Thomas the Tank Engine, and Power Rangers, I've been super attached to for a long time. So, yeah, these are one of my first favorite cartoons. So, yeah, let's get right into this, though. This is the rise and fall of the Rugrats. Let's get it.
Rugrats looks like a simple show about babies and diapers, but behind all of those bottles and those rattles, there's a story about a scrappy studio, a near-death cancellation, and a revival that turned it into one of the most powerful brands that Nickelodeon has ever had. The weirdest part is that the show's biggest success only happened after everyone thought it was basically over. Rugrats started with 3 adults trying to imagine the world from about 2 feet off the ground. Animator-producer Arlene Klasky and her then-husband Gabor Shupo, and writer-producer Paul Germain. They developed the show at Klasky Shupo, an independent animation studio that they'd founded in the early 80s that had already built a reputation for slightly off-kilter, European-flavored design work. The core idea was simple and weirdly ambitious at the same time. Show everyday life entirely from a baby's perspective, and a trip to the grocery store plays out like a full-blown adventure movie. Instead of making the parents be the focus, the series treated adults as the background noise. They were giants whose conversation just floated overhead, half understood, and sometimes misinterpreted in ways that send the babies off on fresh missions. Arlene Klasky later said that she saw babies as little philosophers, and Rugrats leans into that, giving Tommy and his friends surprisingly thoughtful, if naive, takes on the world around them. But the gentleness of that concept also hides a creative tension that would follow the show for years. How far could you push emotional intensity and real-world issues in a cartoon about toddlers before somebody at the network spoke up?
A baby's gotta do what a baby's gotta do.
Tommy Pickles, voiced by E.G. Daily, is the diaper-clad leader of the group, always ready to crawl headfirst into danger with his trusty screwdriver tucked in his diaper. There's actually a good reason that he's written to be so brave. The creators established that Tommy was born premature, and his constant determination to move forward was meant as a reflection of that fighting spirit.
Oh no! Look! Just because you put a cape on me doesn't mean I can fly!
Chucky Finster, originally voiced by Christine Cavanaugh, is Tommy's anxious best friend, the kid who's scared of pretty much everything, from clowns to change to his own shadow. Chucky's mom is notably absent in episodes, and later lore reveals that she died when he was very young, adding an unspoken layer of loss to his jumpiness and to the dynamic with his gently nervous dad, Chaz.
I think Chucky is one of the most well written out characters. I think he's one of the most well written out characters in a cartoon series ever. Not talking animes or nothing like that. We talking like cartoons. We talking like fucking SpongeBob, Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff Girls, you name it, in any of them. I think Chucky is probably one of the most well written out characters, has one of the most well written out stories. Because it hits deep too. But it's a really great story. I really wish that a spinoff with Chucky did happen. I do remember at a point in time they were going to make a spinoff with Chucky. Being in I think with him being in preschool, since he was like older than the other babies, because Tommy and Phil and Lil, they were like younger than him, but he was like old enough to be in preschool. So it would have been nice to see that dynamic, see him have his own spinoff with him in preschool and whatnot. But I digress. Because he definitely had the best well written out character from everybody.
recipe for you. It is called Aunt Mermie's Mud Pie.
Phil and Lil DeVille, the bickering twins, they turn gross curiosity into a personality trait. They're obsessed with bugs and mud and anything slimy or disgusting. They often serve as the chaos agents of the group, daring each other into eating worms or diving headfirst into puddles. They are stark contrast to Tommy's purposeful courage and Chucky's fearful hesitation.
I'm the boss around this place, see? That means you have to do everything I said.
And then there's Angelica Pickles, Tommy's older cousin and self-appointed villain of the nursery, voiced by Cheryl Chase. Chase reportedly had trouble playing someone so mean at first, so writer Steve Vixton told her to think of Angelica as the J.R. Ewing of the series, a ruthless soap opera schemer shrunk down to preschool size, which would help her lean into the character's manipulative streak. That mix, one baby defined by survival, one by fear, two by gleeful grossness, and one by weaponized cruelty, sounds intense for a kid show. The question was how far the creators and the network would actually let those undercurrents go. Rugrats premiered on August 11, 1991, as the second of the original 3 Nicktoons, sandwiched right between Doug and the Ren and Stimpy Show. The
Get Ren and Stimpy the fuck out of here.
His first birthday introduced almost the entire core cast and tone in one go, even if details like Tommy's shirt color and Angelica's personality were still a bit softer than they'd become later. Those early episodes didn't exactly explode right out of the gate. The animation was rougher, the voice acting relatively quiet, and the plots were simple. They were more about mood and kid logic than big set pieces. For a while, it looked like Rugrats might end up being the quiet middle child between Doug's grounded slice of life and Ren and Stimpy's loud, grotesque chaos.
Get Ren and Stimpy the fuck out of here.
Schupo and Nickelodeon had a standard early 90s plan. They wanted to produce 65 episodes across 3 seasons and then see where things landed. What nobody expected was that Rugrats would hit that 65 episode mark and then seem to stop dead. By 1993, production on Rugrats had wrapped its initial run. 65 episodes spread across 3 seasons, with the last new episode airing in May 1994. At that point, there were no new episodes in the pipeline, and co-creator Paul Germain left Klasky Schupo reportedly over creative disagreements and tension with the rest of the team. From 1995 to 1996, the only new Rugrats content came in the form of holiday specials, an early hint that the brand still had value even if regular production was paused. On paper, it looked like Rugrats had done what a lot of cartoons did: hit the episode order, drift into reruns, and then prepare to fade out of the schedule over time. But Nickelodeon did something unusual. They started airing reruns of Rugrats constantly, multiple times a day, including in early evening slots when both kids and parents were likely to be watching together. By 1996, episodes had aired over 650 times in a single year, effectively saturating the channel with these babies, and instead of burning.
And this is how SpongeBob came in, and this is the exact formula that SpongeBob came in with and pretty much swept the entire rest of the Nickelodeon lineup. This is exactly how SpongeBob took over, bro. Nickelodeon, if this is why I say Cartoon Network is the best fucking kids network of all time. I say this because it is facts. Not opinion. It is straight facts. Argue with your mama. Don't argue with me. I'm spitting straight facts right here, right now. Why Cartoon Network is the best? They never leaned on any fucking show, no matter how good it was, no matter how successful it was. They never leaned on it. They never leaned on Johnny Bravo. They never leaned on Dexter's Lab, Cow and Chicken, Powerpuff Girls, Ed, Edd and Eddie, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Kids Next Door, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Camp Lazlo, Class of 3000. They never, Billy and Mandy, they never leaned on shows. They always kept it fresh. They always kept it new. They always knew that, hey, we can get over with newer shows. They didn't even fall back on the bigger shows like fucking Justice League, Batman. They didn't even fall back on them. They was like, they gonna come and they gonna go. We gonna have some other shit. They didn't fall back on Toonami. They didn't fall back on Adult Swim. Well, now they had to because Warner Brothers. But when they were in their prime, they always had something new. They would have such a big variety that you could just immerse yourself into this network for the entire day, because you're not finna watch the same thing over and over again. You probably might get 2 back-to-backs, but you won't sit through a marathon of just one television show. That's why Cartoon Network will always be the best kids network of all time. Disney couldn't do it. They always had to fall back on their old shit. And Nickelodeon, shit, look at Nickelodeon now. They still leaning on SpongeBob. To this day, they still leaning on SpongeBob. SpongeBob is all they got left. That's their bread and butter. That's what's been keeping them afloat. Okay? The next generation that's coming up, whatever generation that is, if they not fucking with SpongeBob, oh, it's over for Nickelodeon. It's over for Nickelodeon. So they better be thankful that Gen Z and Gen Alpha fuck with SpongeBob heavy. Because the next generation that's going to come up, if they not fucking with SpongeBob, oh, it's over. Best believe it's over. That's one of the biggest problems with Nickelodeon. I said what the fuck I said. I don't care how you feel. Take that shit to the bank. Cartoon Network always kept it original, bruh. They always had something new Now, I ain't gonna sit up here and say everything was a hit. They had some flops, but they never leaned on one show. Never did a full fucking marathon. And they had all the old shows. Think about that for a second. They had all the old shows. Tom and Jerry, Looney Tunes, the whole Looney Tunes cast. Fucking Popeye, the Sailor Man. They had Flintstones, Jetsons, Scooby-Doo. Never leaned on them. Always, they made a separate channel just for them. They like, we don't need that. We got all this new shit over here. We taking chances. We'll take them risks. You feel me? Cartoon Network is the GOAT, nigga, and don't you ever fucking forget it. Play the fucking music for the one song. Fuck ass niggas. Y'all better get it right, bruh. Put some respect on Cartoon Network name. Fuck nigga.
Viewers out, it did the opposite. The show became one of the most watched series on all of cable TV. That kind of rerun performance created a strange tension though. If Rugrats was, quote, done, why was it suddenly one of Nickelodeon's biggest hits? And how long could a show survive on repeats before something had to give? Faced with the reality that Rugrats had become a sleeper hit in syndication, Nickelodeon made a rare move. They brought the show back into production in 1996. New episodes rolled out alongside the older ones, effectively making Rugrats feel like it had never left. Even though there had been a gap of years behind the scenes, the revival era did come with some changes though. Some of the original writers did not return. The lingering tensions between Klasky Shupo and their former staff were still hanging in the air. Storylines grew a bit bigger and more elaborate, and over time the cast expanded, adding characters like Tommy's baby brother Dill and later Kimmy, which some fans feel marked a shift away from the intimate 4 babies and 1 bully dynamic. Still, this second life is what turned Rugrats from a solid Nicktoon into one of Nickelodeon's flagship properties. The series ultimately ran for 9 seasons over roughly 13 years, becoming the longest-running Nicktoon of its era and winning multiple Daytime Emmy Awards and Kids' Choice Awards along the way. The real proof of how big it had become came not on TV, but in theaters. And that leap would change both the studio and the channel in ways that nobody saw coming. In 1998, the Rugrats movie hit theaters as one of the first major attempts to translate a Nickelodeon cartoon into a full-length feature film. Produced by Klasky Shupo and distributed by Paramount, it became the first non-Disney animated feature to gross more than $100 million at the global box office, a landmark for both the studio and the network. Arlene Klasky, who had been a driving creative force behind the series and the films, helped shape the movie's look and emotional arc, including introducing Dill and exploring how the arrival of a new baby upends Tommy's world. The success of that first movie led directly to more. Rugrats in Paris the movie in 2000 and Rugrats Go Wild in 2003.
Hey. I ain't gonna lie, that Go Wild one, that was kind of a hit or miss. It's like it had some good to it, but it was like looking back at it, that shit was super unnecessary. They didn't need that. They didn't need that. That they could have did without that. Nah, that ain't it. That ain't it, bro. I'm not gonna say it was bad, but it was super unnecessary.
Over with another Klasky Shupo show, The Wild Thornberrys. Off-screen, the franchise exploded into toys and clothing and video games, and even a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh, damn.
It's an almost surreal milestone for a show that had once quietly paused after 3 seasons. Klasky Shupo swelled to hundreds of employees, using the Rugrats engine to fuel other series like Real Monsters, Rocket Power, and The Wild Thornberrys.
And once again, they had all this greatness right here, all great shows in their own right, along with shows like Two Angry Beavers, Hey Arnold, trying to think what else, Kablam, Jimmy Neutron, Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom, My Life as a Teenage Robot, Chalk Zone, Butt Ugly Martians. People sleep on Butt Ugly Martians. That shit is super. Y'all be sleeping on that shit. So I'll say it. Y'all sleeping on it. But I'm trying to think what else. What else? That's all I can think of right now off the top of my head. Like all them shows, and they never really went full throttle with them. Like I think the Rocket Power, they got a movie, and then I think they had another season, then they just canceled the show. Our Real Monsters, they had a full complete series. They had a full complete series with a TV movie. Wild Thornberrys, they had they had two movies, the Rugrat movie and then the Origin movie, which I thought was stupid. Why'd you make an origin movie instead of just making a movie for them? But nah, let's make an origin story because that's so original. Like we don't already know the fucking plot. Like we ain't sat through many episodes knowing the fucking plot. Let's make a movie about the plot. Like fucking stupid. But I digress though. But I feel like they didn't get their full I feel like they didn't get their full just due, man. I feel like a lot of shows could have did more. I understand when SpongeBob came out, it's no denying that SpongeBob is what it is. It's fucking goated. Like, let's not sit up here and act like it's not. Like, it's fucking goated. It's fucking goated for sure. Like, nobody's never gonna sit up here and say SpongeBob is not goated, but leaning on it for so long and getting rid of so many other studios and cartoons that has so much potential, especially Rocket Power. I was very upset when I heard Rocket Power got canceled. Like, I could understand Invader Zim. Invader Zim is ass. I don't care what y'all say. Y'all will never convince me that Invader Zim was a good show. That shit was ass. But a lot of shows that was on Nickelodeon at the time, I feel like they could have expanded on them. Some could have got spinoffs and whatnot. But no. We had to go with the sponge. And look where that's got Nickelodeon now.
All carrying some trace of that offbeat, slightly scribbly design. But while the movies and the merchandise made the brand bigger than ever, they also nudged the series further from its small-scale, imagination-driven roots, which prompted a new question. How long could a show about babies stay grounded once it had become a full-blown empire? By the early 2000s, Nickelodeon and Klasky Shupo decided to answer that question by doing something bold. They let the babies grow up. The spin-off, All Grown Up, aged the characters into preteens and teenagers, exploring their friendships, their crushes, and identity struggles outside the crib. It ran from 2003 to 2008.
And it ran that long? I don't remember that shit running for that long. I do not remember this show running for that long. They probably must have moved all them episodes over to Nicktoons. That's what they was doing around this time too. They started moving a lot of their cartoons over to Nicktoons or Teen Nick, one of the two. They started moving them over there. Yeah. I remember.
Come here, big fella.
I ain't got no CTE. I remember. So damn, I might have to go through fucking All Grown Up then, because I only remember like the first 2 seasons, and then I guess they moved everything over to Teen Nick after that.
Split the fan base. Some viewers loved seeing Tommy, Chucky, and the others wrestle with lockers and homework instead of diapers and playpens, while others felt that the magic of Rugrats was tied to seeing the world through literal baby eyes. Meanwhile, the original series ended its primary run in 2004, its last episodes arriving after more than a decade of an on and off production. Even after the show's wrapped, Rugrats refused to disappear completely. Nickelodeon kept the reruns alive, and in 2018, the network announced a revival with the original creators, Klasky, Shupo, and Jermaine.
That shit ass. Don't even watch that, bro. Don't even watch that revival of the CGI Rugrats. That shit ass. And just save it, bro. If you've ever been curious about it, trust me, I'm here to kill your curiosity. It's trash. Don't watch it. If you enjoyed the original Rugrats series, keep watching that, bro. You don't want to watch the new one, bro. It's ass.
Attached as executive producers. That reboot eventually premiered on Paramount Plus in 2021, updating the visuals with CG while trying to preserve the core dynamic of babies misinterpreting the world around them. But the reboot's own fate turned complicated. After a second season backorder and a planned 3rd season, Paramount scrapped the revival entirely in 2024,
as they should,
episodes from the platform and leaving fans once again wondering how long their favorite show could survive in a streaming landscape where entire series can just vanish overnight. For a show built on the idea that babies can see more than grown-ups think they do, Rugrats has always carried this strange double life. And that's why the show is so special to so many of us today, because behind every silly misheard word and every adventure in a living room jungle, there's this sense that these characters kept fighting for their way back again and again, just like Tommy, born too early but still determined to crawl forward anyway.
Alrighty, man. That's just gonna about do it for this one, man. Most definitely, man. Hey, Rugrats was a goated show. Not gonna lie, but there's a I didn't know that All Grown Up went all the way to like 2008 though. That's a shocker to me. I need to watch. I need to catch up on that. That was a pretty good show. Like I said, there was almost a preschool spinoff that was supposed to be with. I knew it was supposed to be with Chucky, Angelica, and Susie. But I think that shit got scrapped, and then there was something else with I forgot. There was some he didn't go over it fully. He just went over the show. He didn't really go over it fully though, because I knew there was some other shit in between. Because there was something with that why that preschool spinoff didn't come into fruition. Because that preschool shit almost, I think that shit almost got the show canceled altogether. Back then, that's what I think, but I digress. But anyway, so that's just gonna about do it for this one. I will see you all in the next video. Rugrats is still one of my favorite shows. Just don't watch the revival if you haven't seen it. Save yourself. Just save yourself. It's not worth it, bro. It's not worth ruining your childhood over, bro. I know some of y'all hard-headed out there and like to just go ahead and do it anyway. I'm trying to save your childhood. Do not watch the revival. It's ass. But I digress though. But anyway, so I'll see you on the next video. Till then, deuces.